What up, America? Doug Gottlieb Show. Fox Sports Radio. Coming to you from the TireRack.com studios. TireRack.com will help you get there. Unmatched selection, fast free shipping, free road hazard protection, over 10,000 recommended installers. TireRack.com. It's the way that tire buying should be. Welcome in. We got a lot to get to today. Probably way too much New York Jets talk. We're going to buy into what all these Syracuse, Mets, Jets, sports radio, sports TV dorks, and many of them my friends, I call them dorks lovingly so, discuss average football team firing their coach, but we'll get to it. Plus, Dodgers, Padres, and a level of nastiness which I don't think most are familiar with, and I have a little bit of a different perspective on this. By the way, also, I would encourage you to download our podcast, not just of this show, but we also have a podcast-only version hour of the show. And on that, I believe Matt Holliday is going to join us. That's the third hour of the show. Just type in Doug Gottlieb or download podcast, and we'll talk about just Dodgers Padres. It's such a good, interesting series. And, of course, Dodgers now backs seemingly fully against the wall and a bullpen day after losing last night to the Padres. But let's put baseball aside because Aaron Rodgers' appearance on Pat McAfee was shifted until Wednesday. Now, there's a couple different levels to it. There's the fake news from a guy who has put out fake news before or also been a conspiracy theorist before, and there's the ownership piece to it. And I'll get to what I mean by both of those in a second. Let me play for you a little bit of what Aaron Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show, and then we'll react to it. Here's Rodgers talking about the Robert Saleh firing.
As far as any of the ridiculous allegations out there, I'm not going to spend more than one sentence in response to it, and that is that I resent any of those accusations because they're patently false. And it's interesting the amount of power that people think that I have, which I don't. But I love Robert, and it was, one of those days yesterday.
He talked about his relationship with Saleh.
Yesterday was a day that reminds you of the simple fact that all of us who played know all too well, and that's that it's a tough business. It's a beautiful profession. It's incredible. It's done so much for our lives, but it's also a really tough business. I love Coach Saleh. We have a very solid relationship. We have since, I met him in 2021. And had a nice conversation when they came and visited us for joint practices. He was a big reason why I came to the Jets. I felt like the team, was a solid team. Had a relationship with Coach Hackett, obviously. And I really liked Coach Saleh. Everything that Matt LaFleur said about him, the few interactions I've had, the times that we went against him, I just had a lot of respect for him.
Then there was this. In talking about the fact that he met with Woody Johnson prior to Saleh being fired.
I did talk to Woody. Woody called me on Monday night. We had a short conversation. I appreciated the call. It was a genuine call, and he just asked me how I was doing. Obviously I got rolled up on in the game, and, my ankle got pretty banged up. So he just called and was asking how I was doing. And, we talked about the game and how disappointed I was in my performance and that I'm going to play better and we're going to get this thing turned around. And then we hung up. Woody has no obligation to let me know of what his plans are. Whether or not he knew what he was doing in that moment is inconsequential. I just appreciated the call that he was checking on me. It was just like a friend call, like he would do. Hey, man, I saw that hit in the game. You doing okay? And we had a nice short 5-minute conversation, and then that was that.
So here's the thing. I'm willing, by the way, to admit, or I'm willing to accept that Aaron Rodgers did not go in and say, I want Robert Saleh fired. But I also know, and I think all of us realize, that if Aaron Rodgers wanted to play for Robert Saleh and Robert Saleh alone, do you know who'd be the head coach of the New York Jets today? Robert Saleh. Right? Like we're all, and again, this is not specific to Aaron Rodgers. I've said this about Kobe, because Kobe got Mike Brown fired. walked in, said, Mike Brown, this is not working. Mike Brown was gone. It's like, 10 games in the season? They were trying to run the Princeton offense. It was a disaster with Dwight Howard and Steve Nash, right? Steve Nash got hurt. I don't know if Dean barely played for the Lakers, if at all. It was a mess, right? Kobe walked in and said, this ain't working. LeBron James has gotten plenty of coaches fired. He tried to get some coaches fired, has succeeded in getting David Blatt got fired. And what I think is amazing is for all of Aaron Rodgers' honesty, and again, I believe him here. I believe that though he lost a lot of credibility in the media and in the public with lying about being inoculated, okay, and when he wasn't vaccinated, okay, and trying to be clever, I actually believe that Aaron Rodgers didn't say, fire that dude. Well, maybe I don't totally believe it, and I'll get to that in a second. But even if that is true, Aaron Rodgers absolutely positively has the power to say, Woody, what are we doing? Robert Saleh, he's not the problem. Like, we got other issues. Let's not do that. Let's work towards a better solution. Let's get better offensively. Let's figure out what we want to do play caller-wise. Let's move forward. Because the truth is that Aaron Rodgers, though he may not be capable of coaching a team, and though he may have this friendship with a guy who clearly can't call plays, get him in on time, and be efficient as a play caller, the fact is that Aaron Rodgers has been a part of a championship organization for the better part of his career. And so if Aaron Rodgers is like, look, I don't know if what Robert Saleh is doing, not doing, when I'm just in the film room, I'm just in the QB room, that's all I'm trying to do. But this is not a championship caliber coaching roster. We're not being coached like a championship team. I wonder at any point, will anybody just own it? Right? We've had murderers admit to it. Why can't we have a quarterback go, yep, he wasn't good enough. I like him. Hell of a guy. Not good enough at his job. Sorry, we move on. And if nothing else, if you have truly nothing to do with it, there could have been I'll be honest with you. Had I known that Woody was going to make a coaching change, I would have stopped it from happening. But that's not what happened. And that's why so many people call BS. Because even if Aaron Rodgers didn't get Robert Saleh fired, even if we're willing to go, hey, he didn't go in, look, the timeline of events is at least a little curious. Wait, so you talked to Woody before he talked to Saleh, he fired Saleh, and it never came up? Ever. You're a Hall of Fame quarterback who's won a Super Bowl. You've won, 4 MVPs? And the owner of the team made a change at the head coach position, and it never came up? Seems a little odd. He's under no obligation to tell me. Really? Aaron, weren't you upset in Green Bay? Remember you had to have how much tequila he had? You guys remember that? He had to have tequila. And the big thing in Green Bay was not just that they drafted a quarterback instead of a wide receiver when they took Jordan Love. It's that they didn't tell him. Right? People say all the time, hey, man, I can handle it. Just tell me the truth. Aaron Rodgers especially. So, again, if you believe this tale, we're fine. Okay? If you believe this tale, then Aaron Rodgers, at minimum, should have said, I wish you would have asked me, because I would have said, don't fire Robert. In the middle would be, he should have said, don't fire Robert. And the reality is, there is 0.00001% chance that the owner of the team talks to the Hall of Fame quarterback of the team and doesn't talk to him about firing the head coach of the team, especially when the quarterback of the team has had a major issue with his previous franchise over being integrated into the decision-making. Right? I mean, that was the thing. So, wait, you go to Aaron Rodgers to see what players you want to pick up? You extend Aaron Rodgers when he'd only played 4 games with the team? You tell Aaron Rodgers is so important that when he gets hit and gets smoked in London that you check on him, but you don't bring up, oh, hey, by the way, I don't want to bury the lead here. And listen, I know you got to go, but I'm going to fire the head coach with the next phone call.